This little quick video is going to talk about MySQL a little bit. We should have done this in chapter 3, but I was on quarantine. For the virus, my stepdaughter tested positive, so I was just now able to come back to work, and I didn't have the equipment at home, so I apologize for that. And this is MySQL. Your window may be a little bit different than mine, but I have the schemas over here. These are the two databases we're going to use, Samaris and Tau. You can expand those and, I can do the tables, and it shows all the tables in there. I can expand that and click on column. It shows all the field names and all. So you know what they are, actually, the field names. If I want to go from one database to the other, I use the use statement, USE Tau, and execute it. That means that's the active database to where, like if I tried to do something with Samaris right now, it would tell me it doesn't exist. I'd have to say use Samaris or say Samaris dot and then whatever the table names were. All right, so I'm using Tau as the default now. So I want to see what some data is in the customer table. I'm going to say select asterisk from, I could type customer. And let me talk about the semicolon. I know the book recommends this, and it's a good practice, so I'd recommend it also. But what the semicolon does, it ends the SQL statement. So if you're only doing one statement, then if you leave off the semicolon, nothing will hurt. But if you're doing two SQL statements at one time, then it's going to crash because it doesn't know what's what. So I always put the semicolon. Then watch what happens when I execute it. I execute it, so it shows me my SQL statement right here, and it shows me the data results right here. They call it the results grid. This is what you submit in your lab sheet. You submit the SQL statement and the results in your lab sheet. And I'll show you how to do that here in a minute. All right, so the way the select asterisk does, it says, I want you to show me all the field names and all the records. Okay, that's what these are. These are field names across the top. All these down here are records. If I want to just get an individual field or multiple individual fields, I could say customer name separated by a comma, street. So I can get any amount of fields I want as long as I separate them by a comma. And notice I don't put a comma after street. So when I execute that, it just gives me those two fields. Notice the column heading. The column heading is the field name, okay, by default. So let's try this. Let's change the street to a capital street and execute it and watch what it does. Whatever how you put on select is what's going to be your column heading. If you did an asterisk, it's going to do your field names. Now, you can use the as keyword, like as name, and run it, and it will change it to whatever's after the as name. And in chapter 4, some of them will have you do that. I can use the describe command. Customer. And that shows you the field names, the type of field it is, whether they're null values or not, the primary key. Let's talk a little bit about this. The type, char, means it takes any character up to 3 positions, the length of 3. Decimal, it says, hey, I want it to be 8 positions with 2 of them being decimals. So that means you draw out 8 nines and then put 2 decimal positions, and that's the largest amount that'll fit in there, which would be 999,999.99. That's just the way it works. Now, if it's a char field, say like if customer number is a numeric, but it's going in a char field, like when you do an insert into, you have to put it in single quotes. That's just, you need to get in a good habit of that, because sometimes it'll give you an error. Sometimes if you don't put the single quotes around it, it'll give you garbage data. Let me turn off my phone. I apologize for that. That's just a brief thing of how you use this. And, later on, chapter 4, it'll introduce some other things for you. Let's talk about chapter 4 briefly as far as other commands I'm going to show you. And then I'm on, if I have time today, I'm going to do a video, like a lecture video over it. If not, it'll probably be Monday, but I'm going to try to get it done today before I leave work. I just showed you, and I'm looking at the book right now. I just showed you how to do the select A and all that stuff, and that's trying to follow along in the book. You can use the and or operators, like when you want on the where clause. Let me talk about the where clause for a minute. I'm going to go back here and I'm going to do a select asterisk from customer and run it. And say, hey, I only want to get customer that lives in Fulton. I can get rid of that and I can go down to the next line. And I don't have to, I can put it all on the same line, but for readability, I'm going down to the next line. Say where city equal, and it's a character, so I'm going to put a single quote. Then run it. So what the where clause does, it gives you a subset of the records. Okay. What I mean by subset, whatever matches that condition. Notice the only thing showing is Fulton, because that's what I put on the where clause. That's it. Now I could add an and there. I could say Fulton and balance greater than 1200. Execute it. And it got rid of the other two records because the balance was less than 1200. So the way the and clause works is both conditions has to be true for it to put that in your output. So the city is Fulton, that's true. That evaluates to true. The balance is greater than 1200, that evaluates to true. Or statement, either one of them has to be true. Then it talks about showing that you can do the having clause, and this is the last thing I'm going to talk about this, and I'll do more detail on the lecture. The difference between the where clause and the having clause is the where clause works on each individual record. The having clause works on a group of records. So you'd have to use the group by statement, like group by city, having, something, that does it on the entire group. And of course, we'll go more in detail on the other lecture, but I just wanted to give you, because I'm getting a few questions on this. And the last thing I want to show you is I want to open up the lab sheet, and I want to show you how to copy the results into the lab sheet, because a lot of people, are not having any trouble with it, but I have a few that, they're having a little trouble. And so I'm going to open up this lab sheet here. And it says list the item number, description, and price for all items. All right, so I'm going to go back to my SQL, and it says items. So I got to find the actual table it's in. So I'm going to click on the tables. Sorry. Let me close that. Close that. There's items. So I'm going to expand that because I want to see what the actual field names are called. So it wants item number, description, and price for all items. Remember I told you about the asterisk? It gives you every item, every record. So I know I need to use the asterisk. I'm going to go back here to my MySQL, item number, description, and price. I'm going to highlight all that and get rid of it. I'm going to say select item underscore num, and I can do all caps or lowercase, all lowercase, it doesn't matter. Item number, description, and price. Okay, that's all. That's the only three things I want. So what's going to happen here is it's going to give me all records, but just those fields. The asterisk would give me all fields and all records. I think I said that wrong a while ago, and if I did, I apologize. So I'm going to run that and see if I can type. And look there, I got item number, description, and price. So now I want to put it in my Word document so I can turn it in. So I'm going to click right up below this. I'm going to go to Insert, over here to Screenshot, and down to Screen Clippings. Then I'm going to draw a box around the SQL statement and the results. It automatically puts it in there. And, don't worry about making it smaller so it won't take up as much space, because if you do all that, then I got to make it bigger, so I can read it. So just that's the way you put it in there. Some people used to using the snipping tool and then do a copy paste. No, inside Word, just use the screen clippings, and that's the easiest way to do it. So just complete all those, turn them in. I would recommend the fastest way to do it I found is go through and do all the ones that you know. And because this is only doing select and stuff, this is not adding records or anything, and skip the ones that you don't know, and then go back and look those, look those up in the book, ever how you want to do it. But I hope this clears up a few questions. And I'm going to be doing a whole lot more videos, like for each chapter. And call me. My cell phone number is in Blackboard. You can email me, but I don't always have my cell phone with me, but I usually do. And if you call and I don't answer, leave a message, because for whatever reason on my phone, a lot of times, if you don't leave a message, I don't even show up as a missed a call. Not sure what's going on there. And as soon as I see it, I'll call you back. Or you can text me if it's a quick question. But let me talk a little bit about text. If you text me something that's going to take me a while to answer, I'm going to turn around and call you. And you may be at work and may not be able to answer it, but just if I turn around and call you and you can't answer, just call me back when you can. Okay. And I believe that's it for this little video, and I'll send it out here in a few minutes. Thank you.